The cage below Deck 9 asterisk. The freighter Zephyrus groaned as it moved through deep space. The ship was old, patched together with mismatched panels, flickering lights, and humming engines that always sounded one breath away from failure. But it was. Still flying, on Deck 9, far below the crew's living quarters, the air was colder. The lights here didn't work right. Sometimes they stayed off. Sometimes they flickered like a dying star. It was where storage and damaged cargo were kept. And it was where she was kept too, inside a sealed energy cage stood an alien woman, tall, powerful, and silent. Her armor was cracked in places, her arms marked with deep scars. Her hair, dark and long, hung like ropes down her back. Her eyes, glowing a soft violet, stared through the bars but focused on nothing. The crew called her the Red Storm. Some whispered that she had killed an entire squad of soldiers with her bare hands. Others said she had destroyed a colony on her own. No one really knew the truth, but everyone feared her. No one spoke to her. No one dared to go near her. Except one. His name was Cal Riven, just an engineer. 23 years old, brown hair always. Messy, oil stains on his uniform. He didn't carry weapons or give orders. He just fixed things, broken vents, loose panels, glitching doors. One day, Cal was sent to repair a leaking coolant pipe on Deck 9. He carried his toolbox, muttering to himself as he climbed down the narrow ladder, boots clanging against metal. "Of course," he said. "They send the engineer instead of turning off the coolant. Typical." He stepped into the hallway and froze. The cage was just ahead, and inside it, her, the Red Storm. She was sitting now, legs crossed, arms resting on her knees. Her eyes opened slowly when she heard him. They locked onto his, sharp and bright. Cal looked away quickly and walked to the broken pipe. He tried to focus on his work, tightening the clamp, checking the seal, but her presence pressed against him like a storm waiting to break. "You're not like the others." The voice was soft, cold, female. It came from behind him. Cal turned. Slowly. She was standing now, one hand resting on the glowing edge of the energy field. He blinked. "You, talking to me. No one else here," she said. "They avoid me, but you don't run." He forced a nervous smile. "I fix things. Don't usually run from broken metal." She tilted her head. "And me? Am I just broken metal?" "To you? No," he said quietly. "You're different." She stepped closer. Her eyes studied him. "You're not afraid." "I am," he admitted. "But I'm also curious." "Curious?" "Yeah," he said. "You've been locked here for weeks, but you don't yell. You don't attack the guards. You just sit there waiting, like you're more tired than angry." Her expression changed for just a second. A flicker of something. "Sad." He added, "I don't think you're what they say." "What do they say?" she asked. "That you're a killer, a weapon, a monster." She was silent for a long time. Then she said, "I was all those things, but now I am forgotten." He stepped a bit closer. "Maybe not," he said. She stared at him again. Her eyes narrowed. Then, quietly, she asked, "Why do you call me beautiful human?" Cal blinked. "What? You didn't say it. But I saw it in your eyes. You looked at me like I was something worth saving." He swallowed. "I guess I did think that. No one has ever looked at me that way. Not even my own kind." "Well," he said, shrugging, "maybe they were blind." For the first time she almost smiled. Not quite, but her lips moved slightly. Then she looked away. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I was just fixing a pipe," he said. "No," she said. "You're seeing something you're not supposed to. And that makes you dangerous." Suddenly, footsteps echoed down the corridor. A voice shouted, "Hey, what are you doing with her?" Cal turned. 2 guards stood at the end of the hallway, hands near their weapons. "I was just doing repairs," he said quickly. They walked closer, suspicious. One looked at the toolbox, the other at the cage. "She speak to you?" One guard asked. Cal hesitated. No, just looked. Next time. Don't look, the guard said. Orders are to stay clear. She's not your concern. As they escorted him out, Cal glanced back one last time. The alien woman stood in her cage, still watching him. Her hand lifted. Not to wave, not to threaten, just to rest against the energy field, as if reaching through silence. Cal Riven couldn't stop thinking about her, even while repairing broken circuits on Deck 4, even while drinking cold coffee in the engine room. His mind kept drifting back to the alien woman behind the energy cage on Deck 9. The way she had stared at him, unblinking. The sound of her voice, low and sharp, asking him why he called her beautiful. He had no answer. Not then, but something about her face, wounded, proud, hiding pain, had stayed with him. She wasn't just a prisoner. There was something deeper. Something sad. That night, while the ship's lights dimmed for rest hours, Cal slid out of his bunk and moved quietly through the cold metal corridors. The others were sleeping. He used a back panel, bypassed a maintenance lock, and stepped into the restricted service tunnel that led to Deck 9. The air smelled like old metal and dust. Every step echoed too loudly in his ears. When he reached the cage, she was already standing, her arms crossed, her glowing eyes watching him in the dark. You came back, she said. I didn't want to, he replied. But I couldn't stop thinking about what you said. She tilted her head. You mean what I asked? Why do you call me beautiful, human? He swallowed. Yeah, that. Silence hung between them. She didn't move, didn't blink. Her armor was cracked in places, stained with old blood. Scars ran down her arms and neck, some jagged, some clean and burned. I don't understand you, she said. Your kind fears me. My name is whispered in war zones. Even my enemies drop their weapons when they hear I'm near. Read your file, Cal said. They call you Veil-Ara the Red Storm, said you tore apart an entire outpost alone. It was not alone, she answered coldly. I had no choice. They slaughtered my sisters. I finished what they started. He stepped closer, until only the glowing cage barrier stood between them. You weren't always a soldier, he said gently. Who were you before? Veil-Ara looked away for the first time. Her hand touched the edge of her armor, right near her heart. I was a daughter, she whispered. Once, before they carved my body into a weapon. Before they gave me injections that made my bones harder than steel. Before I lost all softness. Cal reached into his pocket and pulled something out, a small round metal piece with a polished surface. A makeshift mirror, broken from an old control panel, buffed clean with a cloth. He held it up to the barrier. You can still see it, he said. The softness, it's there, behind your eyes. She stared at the mirror for a long time. Then, she said something strange. In my culture, mirrors are banned in warrior halls. We are taught to forget what we once were. No reflection. No weakness. But what if your reflection is your strength? Cal asked. She gave a bitter laugh. Only a human would say something like that. Then her face changed. Her shoulders stiffened. She touched her neck, right below the jawline, where a small scar pulsed faintly. He noticed it glowing, just barely. What is that? He asked, stepping back. Her voice dropped to a whisper. They found me. Cal's heart skipped. Who? My people, she said. Or those who once called me sister. That scar, it's not just from surgery. It's a beacon, hidden, waiting, and now it's active. Are they coming to rescue you? Veil-Ara's face darkened. No, they're coming to end what they started. In their eyes, I'm a failed weapon. I broke formation. I was captured. I let myself live. Cal's stomach turned. So, they'll kill you? Yes, she said simply. Suddenly, a red light flashed in the ceiling corner. A sharp, mechanical ping echoed. Unauthorized signal detected. Source: Detention Cell 9B, possible tracking beacon active. Cal's breath caught in his throat. That alert would reach the bridge in seconds. Go, Valara said quickly. They'll blame you. You've already stayed too long. But Cal didn't move. He looked at her, really looked at her. She was scared, not of death, but of being forgotten. Of dying without being seen. I'll come back, he said. Don't, she snapped. They'll kill you too. He shook his head. I don't care. Alarms began to howl across the deck. Red lights strobed along the hallway. Valara took a step toward the cage. Her voice was no longer sharp. If you come back, I won't be here. The cage shimmered with energy. Cal turned and ran, heart pounding, but already planning how he'd break the rules again. Behind him, the alien warrior stood still, a mirror in her hand, and for the first time in years, a tear in her eye. The ship trembled. Cal gripped the wall rail as the floor buzzed beneath his boots. Red light strobed through the corridors. The computer voice spoke again. Unregistered vessel has exited warp 3,000 kilometers and closing. In the engine bay, crew shouted orders and panic bloomed like fire. The captain barked over comms. Shields up, weapons ready, track their engines, now. Cal didn't listen. His thoughts were back on her. Va, EL single quotes, era. The alien prisoner. The warrior. The one no one dared speak to until him. She had said the beacon was active, that her people would come not to save her, but to erase her. And now, something was coming. He ran past the chaos, past guards loading rifles, past flickering lights. He slid behind a storage rack, into a dark crawl space he'd memorized, then dropped down into the utility shaft that ran beneath Deck 9. He moved fast, his chest tight. When he reached her cell, the lights around it were already flickering. She stood inside, her hands clenched, her breath misting in the cold air. But this time she wasn't calm. You shouldn't be here, she snapped. I had to come, Cal said. That ship out there, is it from your people? She didn't answer at first. Her eyes locked with his. Her voice dropped to a whisper. They're from my world, but not from my tribe. What does that mean? She stepped forward, until the energy field hummed between them. They are purifiers, cleaners. They erase what's broken. What shamus the code? Shame. You're not broken, Cal said. You don't know what I did. Then tell me. She stared at him, long and hard. I was built to fight. From birth, they trained us to suppress feeling. Mercy was punished. I was a perfect soldier until I hesitated. My blade trembled at a child's cry. Her voice cracked. They called me defective, left me behind. But I didn't die. I lived. I learned what I was. And they cannot allow that. Cal felt his throat tighten. He stepped closer to the barrier. Then don't let them take you. She shook her head. I'm still locked in this cage, human. You still see me as different. No, he said, voice rising. I don't. I see someone who chose compassion over orders. That's not weakness. That's humanity. A sharp ping broke the moment. From the ceiling, new signal detected. Incoming boarding pods. Estimated impact, 60 seconds. Cal turned to leave, but she called to him. If you really meant what you said, then let me show you. He turned back. What do you mean? She reached under her armor's collar and pulled out a tiny chip glowing red. Embedded beneath her skin. A pulse transmitter. This is the blood signal. One drop of mine is enough to call them. But it can also confuse them. She threw the chip to the floor. Take it. Place it in your body. They will read you as me just long enough for me to escape. What? That's suicide. No, she said. That's balance. He stared at the chip. It blinked slowly like a heartbeat. Her heartbeat. You don't even know me, he said. Valara stepped close again. But you called me beautiful, and you meant it. In my world, that's a vow. Cal picked up the chip. Before he could argue further, the floor beneath them jolted. Impact tremors. The pods had hit. "They're here," she said. "Decide." He didn't think. He pressed the chip to the inside of his arm. It sank under the skin like it belonged. A burning pain flared through his veins, brief, sharp, then gone. The ship's sensors would now read his DNA as hers. "Time's up," Velara whispered. "Go, lead them away from here." Cal staggered toward the shaft but stopped. "Why me?" he asked. "Why trust me?" Her voice was soft. "Because when I looked at you, I saw my reflection." As Cal vanished into the shadows, alarms wailed louder down the corridor. Metallic thuds echoed. Inhuman footsteps and in a control room above, a security officer saw something that made his heart stop. Prisoner Velara no longer detected in Cell 9B. New location. Sector 3 crew quarters. "Captain," he yelled. "She's on the move." But it wasn't her. It was Cal, walking straight toward the invaders. In the docking bay, the lead alien purifier stepped onto the ship. His voice growled through the helmet. "Find the Red Storm. Kill her. Leave nothing." The air on the ship had changed. Thick, cold, tense like every wall knew. Something terrible had stepped aboard. Cal walked slowly through the dark hallway of Sector 3. Breathing heavily, his palm pressed over the chip pulsing beneath his skin. The blood signal inside him was working. Sensors now tagged him as Red Storm. The real Velara remained behind, still locked, still silent. For now, a black armored figure rounded the far corner, 7 feet tall. Long jagged rifle slung over one shoulder. The alien's helmet twisted at the edges like bone grown over metal. One eye glowed red. It stopped, sniffed the air, and faced Cal. The voice that followed was rough and inhuman. "You are marked," it growled. "You are." Her. Cal didn't blink. "Then take me." The alien raised a clawed hand and spoke into its voice thick with victory. "Target located. Preparing elimination." It aimed its weapon slow, deliberate. And then paused. Another voice came through the comms. Faster, angry. "Wait, not yet. We confirm blood signal, but something is wrong. Her aura is wrong. Check again." The armored warrior hissed, stepped closer. It tilted its head, scanning him. Cal stood tall. Even as the fear choked him, even as sweat dripped down his neck, the alien stepped back. "You are not her," it hissed, "but you carry her mark." In that second, Cal moved. He threw the stolen plasma flare down the corridor. It exploded in a wall of blinding blue light. The alien roared, staggered back. Cal ran. Behind him, alarms flared louder, doors sealed. Ship systems failed one by one. The invaders were hacking everything, but he didn't stop. He had one goal now: reach the cage and release her. Because if they caught him first, the plan was over, and she would never be free. Down on Deck 9, Velara crouched by the energy field, listening. She could hear it, the shouting, the alarms, the pounding boots. Then she heard his voice. "Override Section 9 Beta, Riven Cal, Engineering Class. Code Alpha 6. The security lock blinked. Denied. He shouted again. "Override." Again now. From behind him, 2 guards ran toward him. Velara's heart stopped. They tackled him. She screamed, her voice rising without control. Not in rage, not in anger. In fear. "Don't touch him," she shouted. The guards froze, startled. They looked at her. For the first time, she looked afraid. The senior officer frowned. "This one's too close to the cage. Get him out." They dragged Cal away. He reached for her. "I didn't run because I'm brave," he yelled. "I ran because I believed in you." Velara stood trembling. Her claws dug into her palms. A strange heat rose in her chest. She had seen this before. when warriors fought beside their bonded. But this was different, because she didn't understand it. She didn't know why a human would risk death just to speak her name. Hours passed. Then, when the night cycle lights dimmed, the power grid flickered again. This time, not because of damage, but because someone inside the system had opened the cage. Her barrier powered down with a soft hiss. She didn't move. Then a voice whispered from the shadowed corner of the room. "Still think I'm foolish?" Cal stepped into view, his face bruised, one eye swelling, limping. "How did you?" "I'm an engineer," he grinned. "I don't like locked doors." She didn't laugh, but she stared at him for a long moment. Then she asked, "Why did you come back again?" "I told you," he said. "No one should die believing they were never seen." She stepped forward, slow, unsure. She reached out and touched his chest, just a finger. A light touch. He didn't flinch. No one had ever let her touch them without fear, not even her kind. She whispered, "Your skin is warm." "Yours too," he said. A siren blared. Warning. Hostiles breaching upper hull. Detonation detected in engine sector. Structural integrity compromised. She grabbed his arm. "We don't have long," she said. "If we move now, we might reach the drop pods." He nodded. But then the crackled, and her name echoed from the ceiling speaker, spoken by a voice cold as death. "Velara, you were our storm, our blade. Now you are shame. We offer you one last gift. Die clean." Above them, the purifier ship began charging something massive, too large to be a weapon, unless it was meant to destroy the entire freighter. They moved like ghosts to the broken ship. Velara led, her body crouched low, every step silent. Cal followed behind, his breath shallow, his side aching with each motion. A wound from earlier he hadn't told her. He didn't want her to stop. Above them, the purifier ship hovered like a black moon. No lights, no windows. Just silence and death. The freighter's comms crackled again. "Evacuate all sectors. Structural collapse predicted in 15 minutes. This is not a drill." They reached a side corridor near the pod bay. Smoke drifted through the vents. Bodies of crew members lay still, some human, some alien. The purifiers hadn't spared anyone. Cal slowed at the sight. "They're wiping out everyone," he said softly. Velara didn't speak. Her jaw clenched. Then she turned to him. "This is not your war," she said. "You didn't ask for this. I was supposed to die quietly, alone, not pull you into it." "I chose this," Cal said. "But why?" Her voice rose. "I am a killer. A tool they forged in pain. I never deserved your kindness." "You didn't have to," he replied. "You deserved to be seen." She stepped too close. Her hand touched his face. Her thumb ran over the bruise on his cheek. "No one ever touched me like this," she said. "Not in war, not in peace. Not even when I was a child." He looked into her eyes, burning violet, wet at the edges. "I thought you were made of steel," he whispered. "I was," she replied. "Until you called me beautiful." He smiled, but the smile didn't last. Behind them, clink, 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 footsteps, heavy, armored. She pulled him against the wall, her blade drawn in a blink. Cal held his breath. A purifier moved past the hallway entrance. Slow, searching. Its gun buzzed with heat. They stayed still, silent. But Cal's arm, his left one, began to glow faintly red. The blood signal. Velara saw it. Her eyes widened. "It's still active," she whispered. "Good," Cal said. "It means we can still use it." She grabbed his arm. "You don't understand. It's too strong now. You're like a beacon. They'll find you first." He shrugged. "Then let them." "No," she said. "No more of that. No more sacrifice." Cal smiled softly. "Then give me another option." She hesitated. then slowly reached into a hidden pocket of her armor and pulled out a tiny black vial. A glowing liquid swirled inside. "What's that?" "My blood," she said. "Refined, pure. This is what they used to create me. Okay. If I inject it into you," she said, "it will change you. Only for a short time. It'll burn your cells, push your body to survive." "That sounds painful." "It is. But I'll live? If you're strong enough." He looked at her, then nodded. "Do it." "No," she said, voice shaking. "If I lose you, I'll forget what warmth feels like." "You won't," he whispered. She touched his chest, just over his heart. Then injected the vial. The pain was instant. Cal screamed, but didn't fall. He dropped to one knee, eyes wide, vision blurring. It felt like fire was crawling through his veins, chewing through his skin. She held him, rocked him like he was a child. "Breathe, Cal," she whispered. "Just breathe." Minutes passed. When he stood again, he wasn't the same. He felt taller, stronger, his mind sharper. His hearing expanded. His body hummed with alien energy. Valara looked at him in awe. "You look like one of us," he blinked. "Then let's use it." They made it to the pod bay. Only one pod remained. Small. Single passenger. Valara stopped. "This was the plan," she said. "You take it. I'll stay." "No, Cal, I don't care about your plan. I care about you." She stared at him, the warrior who had never loved anyone, and now her hands trembled. "I don't want to die," she admitted, voice cracking. "But I don't know how to live either." "You'll learn," he said. "With me." She nodded. Then turned. As the purifier captain entered the far door, it saw her. "Target locked," it said. "Ending mission." Valara pushed Cal into the pod. "Wait," he shouted. She slammed the door shut. "No," he cried. "No, no, no." Through the glass, she mouthed something. "Thank you for seeing me." She turned, raised her blade, and charged the purifier alone. The pod launched. Cal screamed her name as stars swallowed the escape pod in silence. Asterisk. The escape pod spun in silence, drifting through space like a seed lost in a storm. Inside, Cal lay curled on the cold steel floor, fists clenched, heart breaking. He could still feel the heat of the explosion behind him, still hear her voice, even though she hadn't spoken aloud. "Thank you for seeing me," she had mouthed. And then, she was gone. He screamed once, loud, alone. The walls of the pod didn't echo. It was too tight, too dead. But the voice in his head didn't stop. Val single quotes era. She was more than a warrior. More than scars. She was a soul that had finally opened. And then vanished in fire. The ship's autopilot blinked to life, auto-routing to neutral zone. 8A. 2 hours, 17 minutes. He didn't care. He wanted to turn around. Wanted to burn through space and go back. But there was nothing left to go back to. No ship, no signal. No her, until a beep. Then another. He looked up. Unregistered transmission detected. Signal, fate. He rushed to the console. The screen flickered, static, then a voice. Broken, weak, human. His chest tightened. "Did you mean it?" He knew that voice. Knew it better than his own breath. "Valara?" He whispered, fingers flying over the controls. The signal cracked again. In escape corridor. Under debris. Can't move. She was alive. Cal didn't think. He didn't care how damaged the pod was. He rerouted its course manually, pulling hard on emergency override tabs. The thrusters screamed as he flipped the pod. Back toward the ruins of the ship. Back toward her. The wreckage drifted in orbit, around a nearby gas giant. Floating steel bones. Fires still flickering in the void. He narrowed the scanner to trace her beacon. It was faint, flickering like a candle in the wind. He slammed into the wreck. The pod shook violently. "Warning," the computer said. "Hull Breach risk. He didn't listen. He suited up and leapt out into space. His boots clanged against broken panels. He ducked under crushed beams, crawling into the twisted skeleton of the ship. Darkness swallowed everything. Cold pushed through his suit, but he didn't stop. "Valara," he called out, voice trembling in the cums. "Where are you, then?" "Here." He spun toward the sound. Tore open a collapsed door with his bare hands, straining until blood ran down his fingers, and there she was, trapped beneath a beam. Armor cracked, face pale. One arm mangled. But her eyes still burned. "You came back," she whispered. He dropped beside her, cradled her carefully. "I told you," he said. "You don't have to be alone." She tried to smile, but coughed instead. Blood traced her lips. "I thought I died," she said. "You nearly did," he answered. "I was afraid," she admitted. He nodded. "Me too." She reached up barely and brushed a hand across his cheek. "I didn't want to, but I hoped, if I lived, I'd hear you say it again." Cal leaned close. "You're beautiful, Valara. You're the bravest soul I've ever known." Her eyes closed, just for a second, like those words healed something no medicine ever could. He dug under the beam, lifted with everything his body had left. Pain shot through his back, his arms, his legs. Just a little more. He whispered. She groaned in pain as he pulled her free. He caught her in his arms before she collapsed. Her voice was barely audible. "I can't run anymore." "Then don't," he said. "I'll carry you." She blinked, stunned. "No one has ever said that to me." He smiled through tears. "That's because no one ever saw you like I do." He carried her, inch by inch, through the wreckage. His breath grew harder, his legs weaker. The suit's oxygen warning began to beep. Still he didn't stop. At the edge of the wreck, the pod still hovered. Remote latch to the frame. Lights blinking, waiting. He placed her inside gently. Strapped her in. She reached for his hand. "Get in." He paused. "There's only enough air for one," he said. "No," she gasped. "No, Cal, please." But he smiled. "Your people called you the Red Storm. But I saw the woman inside." She shook her head. Don't say goodbye." "I'm not," he whispered. He activated the pod. And just before the door closed, he kissed her forehead. "Live." The pod launched, and Cal turned back toward the burning wreck. Asterisk, far away, in a command station orbiting the neutral zone, a transmission crackled through. "Unidentified pod incoming. Alien female on board. Requesting aid. Claims she was saved by a human." The officer frowned. "Impossible. No human rescue ship was dispatched." Then the signal played her final whisper. "He carried me through fire. He called me beautiful." And I believed him. The stars outside the neutral zone station burned softly, unaware of the story unfolding beneath their glow. Inside the medbay, doctors worked silently around the glowing stasis pod. Inside it, the alien warrior lay unconscious, barely breathing. Her arm bound in metallic braces, her chest rising weakly with each breath. Her name flickered on the medical screen. Valara. Species, Red Dominion. Status, critical, but stable. In the viewing chamber above, a group of command officers gathered. They watched the footage over and over, a silent recording, recovered from the pod's internal log. It showed a human man, bruised, bloodied, carrying her limp body through fire and wreckage. Carrying her like she weighed nothing, like she meant everything. The moment he kissed her forehead, the way he smiled, even though he knew he would never walk away. And then darkness. No body was ever found. Only the burned skeleton of the freighter, drifting near a gas giant. He was listed as MIA, presumed dead. Why would a human sacrifice himself for her? A station officer asked quietly. No one answered. In the chamber below, the warrior stirred. She awoke to the soft sound of medical tones. dim light above her eyes. Cool air brushing her cheek. At first, she didn't remember where she was. Then, she remembered him. She sat up suddenly, ignoring the pain. "Cal," a nurse rushed in. "Please lie down. Where is he?" She demanded. "Where's the human who saved me?" "He didn't make it," the nurse said softly. Valara went still, not like a soldier. Not like someone preparing for battle. Like someone breaking slowly, silently from the inside. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the small mirror Cal had once given her. The one thing they had recovered from the wreck, still in her SATCHEL. She looked into it. She didn't see a killer. She didn't see a weapon. She saw what he saw. Tears spilled down her face. Later that day, in the main hall of the neutral zone, hundreds gathered. Humans, aliens, diplomats, officers, even former enemies. The alien warrior stood at the center, wearing the robe of her people, red and black, with gold markings of honor. But she had added something new, a human badge. Engineering. Division. It had once belonged to him. She faced the assembly. "I was forged in war," she said, "raised to kill. Taught to see weakness in emotion, in kindness, in love." She took a breath, but one human saw me differently. Not because he wanted something, not because he feared me, but because he believed I deserved to be more. The hall remained silent. She continued. "Cal Riven showed me that strength isn't measured in scars or kills, but in what you protect, and who you carry through fire." She raised her hand, palm out, an ancient human sign of peace. "I do not ask for alliance. I do not ask for trust. I only ask that we remember his name." She paused, voice shaking now. "And if anyone here dares call him weak, know this: he carried the red storm in his arms, with nothing but love in his heart." She stepped down from the podium. No applause followed. Just silence, the kind that wrapped around the soul. That night, in her private room, she activated the final backup recording from Cal's suit. It was a voice log. Static. Then his voice. "Valara, if you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it, and that's okay. Because I saw you smile." He chuckled weakly. "I never thought a war-forged alien would be the most beautiful thing I ever touched. But you were, not because of your face or your strength, but because, even with all that pain inside you, you chose to be soft, to care, even when it hurt." Silence again. Then one last line. "I hope someone out there calls you beautiful again, and I hope, this time, you believe them." She cried, not like a soldier, like a woman who had finally been told she was enough. Years passed. Valara became a bridge between species, a warrior no longer feared but respected. She never picked up a blade again, but she kept his badge around her neck. And when children asked her, "Is it true? Did a human really save the Red Storm?" she would smile softly and say, "No, he didn't save me. He loved me." And that was stronger than saving. In the garden outside the neutral station, a single statue stands. A human man, carrying an alien warrior in his arms, her head resting on his shoulder. At the base, a plaque reads, "He called me beautiful." And for the first time, I believed it.